Please like, subscribe. We'd appreciate it if you enjoy the content. UFC 316, we got Merab versus O'Malley 2, Pena versus Kayla Harrison. And overall, a pretty good main card when I was looking at this. Are there any other fights that have your interest on this card?
Yeah, pretty good card. Sergey Spivak versus Waldo Cortez Acosta, heavyweight fight on the prelims. Looking forward to that one. And then Johnny Walker versus Azmat Mirzakhanov. Johnny Walker's always fun to watch fight, whether he's doing the knocking out or getting knocked out.
Oh, yeah.
An exciting one for sure. But main card overall is pretty good. So let's get into that. Starting off with Vincente Lucque versus Kevin Holland.
I like this fight. Kevin Holland, 27, 13-1, 14 KOs, 8 subs, 5 decisions. Fight of the night once. Performance of the night 8 times. I think he's tied Paul Craig for second most performance of the night bonuses in UFC history. Vincente Lucque, 23, 10-1, 11 KO, 9 subs, 3 decisions. Performance of the night 5 times. Fight of the night 4 times. The point of this is I bring up all these bonuses. I feel like we're just pretty much guaranteed an exciting fight here. Like these guys are going to go after it. They're going to bring it. I feel Vincente Lucque is probably a little more of the consistent of the two. So as much as I do like Holland, I'm going to go with Lucque here. I think Lucque will get it done. This is not a knock on Holland. I think one of these guys is getting finished. So I'm going to go Lucque. I'll go sub round 2.
Yeah, you have a point about Kevin being inconsistent. He's had a lot of issues, especially as of late, but I think I'm going to go with Kevin. I actually think he's a betting favorite. I don't remember what the betting lines are, but I do believe he was a favorite. I would imagine Lucque has a speed advantage on the feet, but Kevin's just so much bigger, rangier. He's very creative striking. He's competent on the ground. I'd probably give the edge to Lucque on the ground, but I don't imagine the fight's going to take place there. So I'm going to pick Kevin Holland. I'll say, I agree with you. Someone's getting finished. I'll say TKO round 3 for Kevin Holland. Mario Bautista, who just beat Jose Aldo in a very boring fight and everyone's upset about him, is fighting Bellator debutant Patchy Mix.
Yes. Yeah, Patchy Mix, I mean, 20-1, TKO, 2 TKOs, 3 subs, 5 decisions. This is UFC debut. He was a King of Cage champ, too, on the regional circuit for a little while. A good promotion. Bellator champ. So this is a guy who's been winning for a long time, and now he's stepping up to the big time in the UFC. Mario Bautista, like I said, coming off that win, although a boring fight over Aldo, 15-2, 3 KOs, 6 subs, 6 decisions. It's an interesting fight. We've seen it so many times with those UFC debuts and the jitters and everything. It can really play a factor. I'm going to say it doesn't here. I'm going to say Patchy Mix will rise to the occasion, and I'm going to say he's going to get a win. It'll be by decision because I don't think either one of these guys is getting finished.
Yeah, Patchy Mix is the truth. I'm with you. As long as he doesn't get UFC jitters or some freak weight cut illness or injury or something like that, he should probably march through Bautista, I think. So I think he gets a finish. I'll pick round 3 sub for Patchy. I'm looking forward to this one. He could catapult himself up there with the top guys in the featherweight division for sure.
I want to say, too, good matchmaking, too, just looking at these first 2 fights. Like, you look at this Holland-Lucque fight, this is almost like one of those fights where it doesn't have title implications necessarily, and it's not going to be very, I don't want to say, it's going to be, they'll go high level, they'll have different things, but it's not the elite of the elite currently, you know, it's not the top 5 in the division, but it's evenly matched. And then we get to this fight where we got a debut against someone, but I feel like it's another evenly matched fight, which leads us into our next fight.
Yeah, Kelvin Gastelum versus Joe Pyfer. This is one that was rescheduled due to Joe Pyfer pulling out in Mexico.
Yeah, very interesting. Joe Pyfer, 13-3, 9 KOs, 3 subs, 1 decision. He's won 6 out of his last 7. Performance of the night 3 times. Kelvin Gastelum, 19-9-1, 6 KOs, 5 subs, 8 decisions. He was the Ultimate Fighter 17 winner. Fight of the night 5 times. Performance of the night 3 times. These guys are known to have some exciting fights. I feel like both are capable of getting the finish here. Gastelum, I think he'll want to try to drag this out, you know, make this go further and maybe catch a submission. But I don't know. I have this feeling Pyfer, he hits so hard. And Kelvin is starting to, I don't know how old he is, but he's been in the UFC for a while now. And so my gut is telling me this is Joe Pyfer's time. I'm going to say it's a round 2 TKO for Joe Pyfer.
Yeah, I love Kelvin. He should have a speed advantage, but like you said, been in a lot of fights, definitely slowing down a little bit now. He also does get hit. So even with his granite chin, sadly, I'm picking Joe Pyfer. I'm with you. Round 2 KO for Joe Pyfer.
Yeah.
Co-main event, bantamweight belt on the line, Juliana Pena versus Kayla Harrison.
More good matchmaking. Pena 12-5, 3 KOs, 5 subs, 4 decision. She's a 2-time now UFC Bantamweight champion. Another former Bantamweight winner on the Ultimate Fighter series. 2-time performance of the night. She's had success. She holds a win over Amanda Nunes too. Obviously Nunes came back and crushed her, but Valentina Shevchenko, she had a loss to her at one point in her career. My point is, she's fought some of the best, right? Kayla Harrison now, 18-1. 6 KOs, 7 subs, 5 decisions, Olympic gold medalist in judo, former PFL champion, won multiple tournaments for them. But at the end of the day, she has not fought the same level of competition in MMA as Pena has, although we know she's very high level. That being said, Pena's not a knockout artist. She doesn't like to knock you out. She's not going to submit Harrison. Her thing is she's going to try to grind you and everything like that. Well, Harrison's a lot bigger in those clinches. And I think she's going to play the Kayla style a little bit. I think that's just the way Pena fights. Pena tries to go forward and likes to fight in that clinch. So even though I think a lot of times, as we've seen, having all that experience will pay off, I think stylistically, she plays right into Kayla's hands. So I think Kayla Harrison is going to find a way to win this fight. I'm going to say 3rd round submission. Although I will say, if this goes into later rounds 4 and 5, it will be interesting to see who has the better gas tank.
Yeah, I agree with you. Stylistic matchup, tough for Pena. Like you said, Kayla's just so much bigger. She's stronger. She's not going to get taken down and submitted, and Pena's not knocking anyone out. So I just expect Kayla. There's also a lot of heat between these two girls. There's been a lot of shit talking. So I expect Kayla, once she gets her hands on Pena, to flip her on her head, get on top of her, and punish her for all that shit talking. So I imagine this starts a little bit slow, with it being a title fight and there's a lot on the line. Kayla doesn't want to get caught with anything. So I'm going to say Kayla, I'm agree with you, round 3, but I think she gets a ground and pound TKO, really trying to punish Pena.
Okay.
And then immediately calls out Amanda, of course.
Oh, sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if Amanda's there. They do a face-off, the whole thing, because that's got to be what's next.
That's what they want.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
Amanda already said she's coming back. It's set up. So hopefully Kayla can get this win and we can get some life, back in this division. So main event, maybe another undeserving rematch here. Merab Dvalishvili versus Sean O'Malley 2.
Sean O'Malley, the challenger, 18-1, 12 KOs, 1 sub, 5 decision. Former UFC Bantamweight champion himself. 1 successful title defense. Most significant strikes landed in a UFC Bantamweight title fight. Fight at night 3 times. Performance of the night 6 times. He's a finisher. He's the heat-seeking missile with his strikes. One of the best strikers in bantamweight. Merab, he's the opposite of that. 19-4, 3 KOs, 1 sub, 15 decisions, 12-fight win streak. Here's the thing. Merab has got unbelievable cardio. We saw how the first fight went when he was able to, take O'Malley down and beat him up. Now, I watched the countdown, and, O'Malley and obviously the UFC really hanged their head on the fact that 5th round where O'Malley looked like he caught, Merab a few times and Merab held his stomach. And I'm not going to say there's not something to that. I also really like O'Malley's attitude in this, where he said that he kind of quit social media after he, got fixed after a year, and he quit smoking weed, I guess, too. He's all focused in on this fight. I like that attitude because O'Malley's always been, to me, it's like he's got this sugar show personality, which helps land the money. But when you listen to his podcast and you listen to when he's with his coach, Tim there, it's always like, oh, this guy's a fight nerd and he's all about this. And And so I think he's got the right attitude. I've said it before. He's the equivalent of a puncher's chance, and that's not a knock on him. It's just he's so good with his strikes. It's hard to ever really count him out. And I think he's going to make the adjustments, and I think he's obsessed about this. However, so's the guy he's facing. So the guy who's facing who already has the win. And he knows when that 5th round happened. And he's just going to obsess about that and that and that too. So at the end of the day, I got to go Merab. Same fight. I'm going to go exact same fight. Decision. And you might even see O'Malley do well again in the 5th round because they're both going to improve and make the same adjustment. Now, maybe O'Malley might take some more chances after this goes, and that could get him finished, or he could catch him, so it makes it interesting. I think even though O'Malley doesn't deserve this fight, it's an interesting fight for a lot of reasons, but I got to go Merab.
Yeah, I can see this one going the exact same way as the first fight, but I also just have a strange feeling about it.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I didn't even bring that up.
Yeah. I can see Sean having really good takedown defense, improving that, and then also being very urgent to get up when he does get taken, because he's going to get taken down many times probably. But I think he's going to have a lot of urgency to get up. He'll be explosive to get up. And apart from wearing on Merab, which we know he has maybe the best gas tank in UFC history, Merab, I do think that will cause more of these scrambles. And it's the scrambles where Merab's lunging in, trying to, get his hands on him.
Yeah.
Those are those transitions where Sean can catch him, like he caught Aljo. And, we know that he has one-shot power, and it can be from his right hand. It could be a left hook. It could be a knee up the middle. He has a lot of weapons, and I think he's just going to force a lot more of those scrambles and those transitions, and I think he gets the win. And I know smart money is on Merab. I would not be surprised if, like you said, the fight went exactly the same way as the first one, but I'm going to pick Sean TKO round 4. I think he puts Merab out.
Okay, interesting. Now, let me ask you this. If this does happen, and Merab, O'Malley pulls this off, does Merab get an automatic rematch?
I think against the UFC's real wishes, yes, I think
he will, because they'll feel forced to. Right?
Yes. I mean, Merab's won like 12 in a row or something too, so he's undeniable at this point. So, but if they didn't do it, I wouldn't be shocked.
Right.
With what's going on with like the John Jones stuff, it's like if you got that Dana White privilege, as Tony Ferguson would say, I would put Sean O'Malley in the Dana White privilege category, since he doesn't really deserve this. You can argue anyway that he doesn't deserve this rematch, but yeah, I could see them fucking over Merab, but I don't think they will. But
I think he's got a great relationship with Matt Serra, all those people too.
That would be
too much of an outcry. They'll have to do it, and then I think if he wins, they're just going to really hope for the best that he can somehow get a win to if he can win the third rubber match too, anyway, controversial decision, whatever, it's over.
I wonder if Sean, sneaks out some sort of win or whatever, if he doesn't think about maybe going up to featherweight also.
That was the other thought
they
too.
The belt immediately.
Yeah, because Volk is obviously a great champion. But if you were ever going to try to catch Volk, and you're a sharpshooter, now would be the opportunity after we've seen him get knocked out, and he's getting older, and stylistically, he's not one of the tallest guys in that weight class.
Yeah,
right. So
there could be a new breed of featherweight guys incoming. The Maxes and Volks are definitely on their way out. I mean, Max is moving on to lightweight or whatever. That's what he should be doing. And then, you got the Patchy mixes coming in. Mitchell still around, Silva, all that kind of stuff. So
that's what's interesting about this card too, with Bautista and Patchy. You feel like they're potentially getting someone there could get a title. Even though we got Corey Sandhagen in the wings too. I'm just saying, there's a couple people that they're positioned to get ready for a potential title shot down the road here.
Yep.
Guys, thanks for tuning in. Enjoy UFC 316, and again, don't forget to like and subscribe.